Hola, sí, súper bien. Sí, pero atrás escucha lo que estén diciendo, como la policía. Listo.
Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being with us in this second day of this first Metropolitan Forum of Smart Cities. For those that are connecting through Facebook or YouTube, thank you. And here we are to get acquainted with progress in terms of artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, among other things we're going to share with citizens today. What's a smart city? Welcome. It's my pleasure to share with you this smart city forum. Thank you, Juan Camilo, and thank you. Let me give a warm welcome to all the people joining us today. Good day and good evening for those that are in other parts of the world where it's night time. Let me remind you that at the end of this transmission, you're going to be able to go to our website and register your attendance. And remember that if you participate in 3 out of the 4 days, we're going to have this session. You're going to be able to get a certificate that attests to you being here and learning all about smart cities. And that's why, Camilo, we want to invite you to participate from your homes, from your workplaces, wherever you are. You can connect with us through social media. You can go to at area metropol using Twitter, and you can also find us on Instagram, hashtag Ciudades Inteligentes. And you can tell us what's a smart city for you. It's important for you to know that we have to broadcast in Spanish and in English so that people can connect, send us their questions. We're going to be able to solve them through this broadcast. Yes, Camilo. In minutes, we're going to have the director from the Aburrab Valley metro area, the greatest authority in this institution, organizing this first smart city forum. And we're also going to have a summary of what the second day is going to be like. We're going to have guests from other countries who are going to tell us their experiences. I would like to begin before giving the floor to the director of the metro area to give you a brief summary for those who weren't able to connect yesterday. We had amazing stories and initiatives from our lands, territories, from the municipality of Barbosa, for instance, in terms of agricultural progress. And we're talking about smart rural. We also learned about they're doing in the municipality of La Estrella, what they're doing with art and painting so that people can appropriate these lands. We also learned about the history of the north of the Abura Valley, Girardota, through video security systems. They're ensuring the security of the citizens, but also air quality in one of the populations that is most affected by all the industry in this area. And we also had some international experiences. That's right. We had a guest from Latvia. We know this game, Minecraft, that they're using. This is a kids game that allows for some other things, such as dreaming through a game and turning into realities all these projects that they have in terms of mobility. This also has to do with public space, but also with education for youth and opportunities. We were also sharing the experiences in San Antonio in the U.S., a big city with a big Hispanic population with poverty, but in a way they're using big data to collect all this information they gather, for instance, during the pandemic, to be able to provide a good service to people. And to this through the use of information. We also saw the case of Argentina in Buenos Aires, where they have one of the uh, oversight systems, the biggest ones in the country, and they were telling us how through the use of technology and IT they can do things for the population. Linda, we're used to seeing many initiatives around the world and to admire the talent of the creators of this type of software and technologies that allow for uh, we're also getting acquainted with what we have around in our land. We heard from our speaker from San Antonio, San Antonio, I mean, how important information is because using it, we can make decisions based on what's going on around the world. For instance, in this case, with taking into account what's going on with the pandemic. That's why we got to get acquainted with what's going on in our territories. Many people may not be aware of what's going on, but also from this area in the Abura Valley, we're seeing very smart cities who are putting the citizen in first place. Another thing that I thought was interesting about what's going on in the Abura Valley, what the mayors in this area said, they're coordinating, and they underscored close to 30 programs that are taking place in this region, and they have to do with mobility, with communication, with smart communication, as mentioned by the director of the metro area. And there's a ton of programs, and something that also shocked me is that citizens are always also participating in processes. These are not people that don't know anything or don't know how to do it. Connectivity are also guaranteed, and for those that don't have it, they can gain access to certain programs to be able to do it so that their opinions also count and they feel like they have a say in what's going on because this is a revolution what's going on in the metro area. And we also have to acknowledge that we are a metro area that is composed of 10 municipalities. And like the director said yesterday, we have close over 4 million inhabitants. And that's important because that's a big population. And we got to try to solve the problems that these have. Regardless of their geo location, we got to take into account that there are some areas that are harder than others because of mountains, for instance. There are municipalities that have other resources, for instance, at the south. We have natural reserves, but we cannot handle them the same way as they're handled in the north, the public transportation system. And remember, here in the Abura Valley, we have an important issue which has been solved through technology, which is air quality. Do you remember, Linda, and for all of those watching us, that through the months of March through April, we go from rain season to dry season, and that increases the pollution. And this is a great challenge the metro area has as an environmental authority to solve this issue and to tell the world where we have these geographical situations and we can solve them through the SIATA system, that we have all these stations monitoring the air quality, but also with all the will of the citizens. That's why we have programs in the metro area, such as citizen scientists that are caring more and more for the environment, but also citizen awareness so that we can add value based on what we see. For instance, the day that you cannot use a car for people to be able to uh, uh, honor this rule using bicycles and other means of transportations. Um, and this way we can connect more and more and expand and become a smart territory. And that's what this forum is all about sharing experiences. We have 20 countries, counting Colombia, sharing what's going on, what's being discussed in terms of this topic. And yesterday it was discussed that it's not the same to say a smart city in China as it is in Spain, and it's not, and we cannot compare it to our territory. But these are experiences that, in the end, can help us to improve. Take what we can use so that we can work on it, not to compare ourselves. It's not about copying and pasting ideas from other places. It's about adapting what we can use, and that way we can move forward. We invite you to keep paying attention to this transmission. We're going to have talks, not only from our territories. We're going to have Jose Fernando Escobar from the Itagüe municipality, the mayor, but also from other places so that you get acquainted with the initiatives that are taking place. And we can have a process of exchange of ideas and learning, but we'll also get acquainted with the initiatives that are being happening in our area, and also including our initiative with bicycles. Continental level to solve issues not only in its territories but also for countries around the world. Who else are we going to have, Linda? In the international scope, we're going to have someone from the United Kingdom, Priscilla Codart. She's a representative of Global Partnership Officer. She's from London in the UK, and she's going to tell us about her experience in this country where they have been working a lot with connectivity and articulated public transportation. She's going to tell us about the experience they've had, and we're going to see if there's anything we can also use here in Colombia. We're also going to have some other international talks. Some of them are going to be remotely, but we're going to have the possibility to have right here on this set, in this forum, Salim Chalela Nafab. He is coordinator of innovation coordination in Latin America. We're gonna have him sharing his experience also about smart cities. We also gotta talk about oceans. This is a difficult topic, the geographic issue, because each city is gonna have different experiences. We're also gonna have a country from Central America, El Salvador. We're gonna have Tatiana Miranda and Carlos Calderon. They are representatives of the metro area of San Salvador, and they're going to tell us about what's going on in this country. Since it's closer to Colombia, we might have some experiences that may be worked jointly, particularly in terms of what's going on in our territory. So we have a very full agenda, and that's why it's important to remind you that you can participate using social media and tell us, in your opinion, what a smart city is. We'll be paying attention to your comments and suggestions also. So you can participate and you can send your questions, because the speakers we're going to have today are going to be answering them. So we're also gonna have some. We're gonna have Priscilla Godak from the UK, Catapult Connect Places, and she's gonna be telling us how a smart city is in this area of Europe. Once again, we have a very full agenda. We're also gonna have the mayor soon of the municipality of Itagüí. He's gonna tell us what's going on in this municipality that has betted a lot on security to improve security indicators. And this is an example of what's being done in the municipality of Itagüí, where there was a lot of robberies and all other types of um, different types of conflicts in the streets. She's gonna tell us all about it. Itagüí is a big municipality. Security is very important when it comes to smart cities because, as we saw yesterday, it's important to show what the issues and challenges we have as a society are. But we're also going to talk about everything related to solutions. We're going to talk about security, as you said, Linda, in the municipality of Itagüí, but not only how the security is applied in this territory, but how it can be used in other territories. Juan Camilo, ensuring security of inhabitants is something major for mayors. And it's not only about security, it's about them feeling at ease, to have a good time. And that's why we invite you to see this video about the water park. You can go to add Metropol area, and you can also use hashtag Foro Ciudades Inteligentes. Very important for people who want to see this broadcast in English. You can do it. It's very easy. It's in the chat. You can choose if you want to watch it in Spanish or in English. And now we have the director of the metro area, Juan David Palacio Cardona. So let's begin with your talk, and let's give the floor to the director. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. There's a lot of cities in us around the world. In this way, I want to begin the second consecutive day of this forum, and I want to thank all the mayors that were with us yesterday. I also want to thank all the international speakers that are participating. We got to remind all the people that are connected right now that we're going to have the participation of 20 countries, including Colombia, and the presence of at least 5 continents. And this is an academic forum of the highest level where we're going to approach topics related to smart cities so that we can build a smart metropolitan territory to acquire knowledge and skills in the matter. I want to thank the mayor, Jose Fernando Escobar Estrada from the municipality of La Estrella, Island Toscano, also consultant of Smart Central Cities, and Miran Ibanez, also general director of Bilbao TIC Spain. Also Juan Jose Prada, responsible for the technology management in the government of the city of Montevideo, and Doctor of Education of the Autonomous University of Barcelona. And all of those that are directly or indirectly participating in this forum who are also going to be speakers. Yesterday, we had presentations precisely from Argentina, Cambodia, the United States, and also from Colombia, with the sole purpose of sharing the experiences we've been having in each of these territories. And we could say that technology solves difficulties of citizens, but it also allows for competitivity of the territory. And this is part of the experiences we've acquired in the metro area. But today, we're going to have the participation of some international high-level participants from Europe, America, and Asia.
That are going to speak more about these matters. This forum is going to be held until Friday, and we can have conclusions in what we're looking for in the building of the Valley of Software, a strategy that we frame from the metropolitan area because we want to have science and innovation for the purpose of generating competitiveness of the territory, but improving the life of the people. And those that are connected, I want to remind you that you have to participate at least 3 days so that you can have the certification. But the most important thing is not to have a certification, but to understand and gain knowledge so that we can improve the territory. So happy day. Welcome. Thank you so much for starting officially the second day of the Forum of Smart Cities. And now Juan Camilo, our first guest. Like our director was saying, it comes from the south of the Valley of Aburrá, a municipality that has a lot of industries. It's the municipality of Itagüí. Jose Fernando Escobar, to share his experience of what a smart city is. Good day, good night, and good afternoon. Good greetings to everybody, to the whole team, and to all those that are connected in this International Smart Cities Forum. And we want to tell you a little bit about what we have been doing in the city of Itagüí. We call it Itagüí, a city of opportunities, a transformation that our city has had during the last 10 years that has been very important for the development of the city. We have to understand the context. It's only 17.5 square kilometers with 290,000 inhabitants. We can say that we are very densely populated in Colombia and even in South America. And this makes us a different context. I wanted to show you in this platform the context of the city of Itagüí. In those 17.5 square kilometers, we have important conditions, and Itagüí is an industrial city of Colombia. And right now, it's industry, commerce, and services. We have 13,000 productive units, and that makes us to a very different context in the metropolitan area with the limits and what is being developed in Medellin, like the Valley of Software. But these productive units make us to have an important development. For that development in Itagüí, we have been working in 154,000 kilometers of roads. And here we can see in this map the boundaries between Medellin and the different municipalities. Here we have La Estrella, Envigado, and San Antonio de Prado. And here we have some general context of our territory. A territory that has that business sector. And when we started this administration the previous year, we created the economic development and the development of the technology and industry. And the story of our city, Itagüí, it used to be very industrial city, but right now it's industry, commerce, and services. And we have made some important changes. We have La Mayorista, we have the road of fashion, and for all that development, we require an important change in that transformation. 13,500 productive units, 1,950 productive units in the major market. We have 7 call center, and for this, in Itagüí, we have been able to do an important intervention in all the infrastructure, a transformation, like we were saying in the beginning, not only in security, but also in what we have been doing is a transformation of territory and the building of a social fabric. For this, it is important to do a highway for development of the territory. We have more than 64 kilometers of optic fiber, so we have Itagüí as a smart city. Here I wanted to show you with QR codes. We're going to be able to show you everything that we are doing in Itagüí City of Opportunities. And we want to make it a digital smart Itagüí. It has 64 kilometers of coverage of a fiber optic reach, and right now it's a highway for giving that service. We still have a little bit way to go, and articulated with metropolitan area with 5,000 million pesos, we're going to have 100% connection. We have 123 parks, 8 zones of internet. This saves us 4,000 million pesos in matters of paying for utilities, because we are our own operators in optic fiber. And this helps us with connectivity, technology, and for the services to the citizens, to equality and the formation of digital citizens. To be able to speak about the 6 big components, the intelligent component, we not only are building solar panels, but all the lighting of Itagüí. Today it is done through LED lights. Itagüí recycles, where we have been formalizing through apps the development of the city of the plan of the building plan. We have been working with the metropolitan area, and we are the city that has the most companies. So there is a demanding for the utilities. There's a high demand for the utilities, but we already have the installed capacity in Itagüí. In that context of having the valley as of software, Itagüí has territory to do that important development. The monitoring of the rivers, the measurement points of air quality. In this context, we do part of the metropolitan area, and we work hand in hand. Access to 6 linear parks, because we also have internet for free for our community. Intelligent economy. We have an important bet, because we are still having productive unit that develops industry, commerce, and services, and everything is transforming. And with the logistics centers, we have to translate to the north and to the south of the Valley of Aburra to set up technological platforms like the main marketplace, like co-working and other developments that have been made in the city of Itagüí. So this makes us strengthen the development of the city. We have El Sena in Itagüí. Sena has an innovation pub that we're going to talk more about. This is very important so that our young people and our children have access to new ways to develop companies and different schools with robotics, with international prizes. We are strengthening all these areas in the schools so that they can develop their own companies with robotics. This is a development that we have done. Intelligent people, it's another context as part of the 6 components, Itagüí City of Opportunities. We are still in a pandemic that has been very complex. We have been developing Itagüí Takes Care of Me, and we have reached 120,000 citizens. And with this, we could do a logistics center and do accompaniment to those most vulnerable families. Virtual education. We reached 32,000 students in Italy through virtual education. Many of them were supplied with tablets or were supplied with PCs or sometimes connectivity through a USB. Not only transportation do we have the metro, the civic card, but also we have articulated that Metro Plus, articulated with the bicycles. So we can reach the metro with the Civica card and the bicycle. And in mobility, we have intelligent systems. Our buses have a monitoring center and accompaniment for routes and frequencies so we can have the best service of transportation. And we in the administration, we have given access to the citizen to all the services virtually to the citizens. We have developed an intelligent life. It's a decentralized offer from sports, recreation, culture. They were speaking about the story of Lithuania in the city of Riga. We are also working in a topic with the young people because we have been using video games, and from those co-working, they can also be part of that development of video games and be part of the virtual sports. We have been working with different tools so that the people in Itagüí, 290,000 inhabitants, we can give the best attention to them and have access to all these. At the same time, smart governance. And I want to stop here. When I say smart governance, we have been a model, a reference in security. We have 283 cameras. We have a monitoring center. We have LPR cameras. We can identify license plates and articulated in Itagüí. Sometimes a vehicle that is stolen, we can follow it with the cameras. It can be a motorcycle or it can be a car. We are also working in a process. We want to reach 500 cameras and have a bigger security center, not only for security, but also for mobility. We're doing constant follow-up. We are below 2 digits of 1 over 1,000 inhabitants of deaths. We used to have 3,500 deaths in the 90s, in the 80s, 90s. Today, we are speaking about 24 deaths a year. That's a low number, but we want to continue working in security. And that's why we're also working with the schools. And a camera can be having like 10 policemen, and we are in an articulated network with the businessmen because we are a business city. And not only are we developing economy, but some people won't come to do harm to our city. So we have to keep up the surveillance in Itagüí. And hand in hand with Itagüí Smart City, We, in different areas, we can give attention to the community virtually from our call center, from our apps. Many of the paperwork can be done through virtual channels, and you don't have to be physically in the administration. We also have an important capacity in storage in the cloud. Safety is also very important, and digital safety includes it to strengthen that perimeter of safety of our city, because we have to be careful. It has been vulnerable in other cities. We have to be permanently taking care of our citizens, but all those components that are digital and technological. I was speaking about intelligent mobility, about the metro system, about the pedestrians. The traffic lights are connected to our surveillance cameras, and we are doing permanent follow-up on all of this. The territorial building plan is coming next year, and we are migrating day to day towards digitalization of all of the products, of all the processes, and that the commuting times are being reduced because the services, you don't have to go physically, and you can do so virtually. We can receive information or do shopping virtually, or you don't have to be physically in the places. So that's why we are prepared. Here I want to do a context. We have 6 commitments in our development plan in Itagüí City of Opportunities, and they are articulated with these components of smart cities: people, mobility, economy, life, environment, and governance. So we want it to be a safe city with justice and opportunity, sustainable mobility, a creative economy and opportunities, the social fabric for the people, the family, and the communities, the environment. We want it to be a sustainable city and governance. This whole summary makes Itagüí a smart city. And how are we developing it? Hand in hand with the metropolitan area. They are strategic allies for our city, Itagüí, because we cannot stay behind showing just the city. We are part of the metropolitan area, where this component that is being developed, that we just approved as a fact, the uses of the soil in our city, we are getting organized. And here, like I said in the beginning, we had 7 call centers that generate more than 5,000 jobs. For us, the most important thing is to generate jobs to these communities. And we developed right next to the station of the metro a building where we wanted to have Tata from the India for software in Itagüí. We have a plot of land near to the river, near to Estación Estrella and Estación Envigado, so that we can have a development for improvement of digitalization. We have important challenges like DNA, creative economy, that is so important. It's one of the topics that is being worked in the country and metropolitan area, and here we just approved it in a municipality council, so that the business, we continue to business city, but from digitalization. So this is what Itagüí wants to do. Itagüí, a city of opportunities in a metropolitan context, in a department that has been working, and businesses have been very important. We have the central marketplace of Antioquia. We showed that over there we have 1,950 commerce establishments. And here we receive all the goods from all the regions of the country. And how do we do this? With a good logistics. So all developments of logistics will allow Itagüí to be that business city. And that is what we want to look for with the hand of the metropolitan area, with harmonic development of El Valle de la Burra and a development of the country. This is what we have in our city to work. We want the young people today. We have important challenges, and what the country is living in, engaging the people, the adults, with our children, with our young people, how to do a training with them. And how are we doing that? That education in 24 schools, 35 venues. We want them to learn about the world and to learn about robotics. We just gave a plot of land to the Sena, and we want the young people to be smart, intelligent through the networks. And today we are not in a rural area, we are in a city context. And that is why we're working hand in hand so that the young people can continue generating jobs, being entrepreneurs. We help them with digital entrepreneurship, and we are in a process of digitalization of all the companies in Itagüí. That is the context, so that Itagüí is a smart city and a city of opportunities. Thank you so much for the transformations of the municipality and how technology is at the service of community. Thank you so much, Juan and Linda.
Hola, buenos días.
Elian, can you hear us? You have the
Oh,
floor.
yes. Okay, now I can hear you, but before I'm really sorry I couldn't.
Ah, lo siento, ya los puedo escuchar, pero antes no los podía escuchar.
Ya, ¿puedes escucharme? ¿Puedes escucharme ahora? Okay. Okay, I will close the YouTube channel because I just could hear
Voy
you
a
through
cerrar
the
el
YouTube
canal de
channel,
YouTube porque solo se
but
puede
I
escuchar
also
por el
will listen
canal,
me, so I have
pero
to
también lo estoy
close that.
escuchando por otro lado, entonces permítanme, cierro el canal.
Bueno, es un gusto para mí tener la oportunidad de participar de este Foro Metropolitano de Ciudades
It's my
Inteligentes.
pleasure to
Eh,
participate in this forum.
Estoy muy feliz para eso, but ahora I will continue in English.
Estoy muy contenta, pero permítame continuar en inglés.
¿Puedes ver mi presentación?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. And now?
Ya la pueden ver.
Bueno, perfecto. So, I will go adelante, pero tengo un problema. Escucho también la traducción. Okay. Bueno. Good morning, everybody. It's really a great pleasure for me to be here. So today I will present you this project developed in the city of Cambodia, so-called Sihanoukville. This project has been developed under the framework of the United Nations in Cambodia, led by United Nations Human Rights, and co-implemented by UN Habitat. Sorry, I will continue to hear also the translation in Espanol. Is it possible to close that?
Es posible que no la escuche.
Thanks. Okay, I will go. So this project aim at developing a smart city concept that will be also sustainable and inclusive through a human rights lens and a gender equality approach. I am a member of the UN Habitat agency in Cambodia as international consultant for smart cities. My background is in architecture and in urban planning, and I have been working for many years on the engagement with local communities and in fostering the participatory framework. But first of all, a first introduction on Sihanoukville. Sihanoukville is the second big city or small city in Cambodia because the population is 160,000 inhabitants. It is in the coast of Cambodia, and it has a really important seaport. Due to this position and due to the seaport, Sihanoukville has a really rapid urbanization, and with also so many investments from other countries. Sorry, I will continue to listen also the translation in Espanol.
En español y me está
And
estorbando.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. So, due to these investments, especially from abroad and especially from China, Sihanoukville suffer for this rapid urbanization, but many people have been left behind. So a lot of problems dealing with a poor governance, a limited human capacity, and also financial resources, and a lack of the access to adequate housing, and the problem of a lack also in education and job opportunities for the young people. Together, we have also to notice that there are also many problems dealing with the environment management, especially flooding, waste management, and the water resources. For that reason, the United Nations, together with the local government, with the local authorities, decided to launch a smart city project, which has been really well focused on the Sustainable Development Goals, and in particular on the Sustainable Development Goals 11, dealing with the sustainable cities and communities. But as I said, our first commitment as being leaving no one behind. And for that reason, the smart city concept developed in Sihanoukville has been really well focused also on other sustainable development goals, and especially the goal number 1, no poverty, the goal number 5, gender equality, and the goal number 3, good health and well-being. So for that reason, the smart city goal for Sihanoukville has been to provide a people-focused, smart, sustainable and inclusive city through a human rights lens and a women-focused approach. Indeed, UN Habitat launched in 2020 the flagship program so-called People Focused Smart Cities. And what does it mean, this program? It's a completely change of paradigm of the smart city philosophy, which position the people, the citizens, and the community in the center of the smart city approach, in the heart of the smart city program. So the people-centered smart city focus on people and not just on the technology itself. And for that reason, it aims to be strongly participative, to reduce inequalities, to reduce poverty and the sustainable problems connected. The Smart City project of Sihanoukville has really well focused also on the gender gap, especially in the rights for girls and women to access to the smart city benefit, because with more than 50% of the world population now is online, but there are still 3.6 billion of people without affordable access to internet. And in developing countries, more than 80% of the population is still offline. And among these 80% of the population online, the women and girls and the gender gap is really high, it continues to widen. So for that reason, we decided to focus on opportunities for girls and for women to be connected and to benefit from the smart city initiatives. And the third philosophy of our Smart City project is to try to ensure the human rights for all the people with a pure Smart City philosophy in building the Smart City concept. For that reason, in order to try to foster the human rights through the Smart City approach, we really well focus on providing secure housing and land tenure, clean air and water, waste recollection and recycling, connectivity and transportation, safe public and private places, high standard of health and equal economic opportunities. And the smart city concept developed, we decided to provide a framework strongly participative by creating several citizens municipality alliance for providing a better city planning, but also for providing an innovation in governance, for including the most marginalized people and try to co-create new innovative services for the people. To really well focus on girls and women, and we embrace the philosophy promoted by the urban girls movement with the motto of if we plan a city for girls, it will work for everyone. And last but not least, the smart city concept for Sihanoukville fosters the human right respect, where no one will be excluded by the innovative digital revolution. So the smart city concept for Sihanoukville, embracing the philosophy of people focus, designing initiatives which promote the use of digital tools with the aim to support citizens in being resilient, proactive, and in be able to participate to the local decision in order to boost a better city life by promoting and including local economy, etc. The smart city concept has been divided in three pillars with a really well-composed local action plan. And the three pillars has been focused on, in the first one, the people-focused smart planning and e-governance, using the digital innovative participation framework. The second pillar has been focused on the smart services for citizens through the crowdsourced data and information. And the third pillar has been focused on the digital empowerment to reduce the digital divide and foster the human rights. So as you could see, all of the pillars, all the initiatives developed by the smart city concept for Sihanoukville in Cambodia has been taking in consideration the lesson learned from other global smart cities, such as Barcelona, Bologna, Nairobi, Jakarta, Beijing, Johannesburg, and Seoul, and some other really interesting experience developed worldwide. The local action plan, which composed the smart city concept, has been divided in three pillars, as I said, which has been composed of a total of 13 initiatives. And I would like to give you an overview of them. So under the first pillar, with the idea to position the people in the heart of the smart city concept and providing smart planning and a better e-governance through the innovative digital participation, we decided to launch 4 initiatives. The first one will be the Smart Sihanoukville platform for e-participation to allow citizens and local communities to co-organize the city services and to participate in the local decision, with 2 main actions: to participate through the platform at the proposals from the municipality and the local institution, and also to propose some act for change where every citizen or representative of local community could launch an initiative to be shared in the platform. The second initiative will be dealing with the e-governance system in order to provide a novel pact of collaboration between the local authority and the citizens of Sihanoukville. In the online services, the municipality will be put available different channels where citizens and the local population will be able to find information and important data dealing with the land tenure procedure, the housing search, education facilities, family cards, waste recollection, etc. And this e-governance platform and also the first initiative will be combined also with physical meeting, because to be a smart city doesn't mean that everything will be digital. And to reinforce this framework under this first pillar, we decided to create also some living labs at neighborhood level in order to make available information and opportunities of collaboration and participation for all the people. So in the neighborhoods living lab will be organized some blended meetings, that means physical meetings and digital meetings, with a really strong focus on, with a dedicated place for women and girls, where they could share their opinions and their insights dealing with the new opportunity for Sihanoukville. And the initiative number 4 under the first pillar will be also the support to the urban planning activity through a strong citizens involvement. And UN Habitat already designed and implemented in other areas some innovative tools to support the urban planning activity. And we are really keen in implementing also in Sicanoville those tools and in link those tools to the smart city concept. Those tools are called the Block by Block Initiative and Air City Toolbox. Both tools implemented and created by UN Habitat use the video game so-called Minecraft, where the local communities, especially the young people, will be engaged to co-design the spaces to be regenerated and reshaping. Minecraft is a really famous video game, which is a kind of virtual Lego. The second big pillar is really well focused on the opportunity to provide smart services for citizens through the information collected by the citizens. That means to create innovative digital services by the use of crowdsourced resources and data, where the people will participate in the data collection. And under this pillar, we will implement different activities. The first one will be the design and the creation of a crowd resource map dealing with the environmental issues, especially the waste management, the water management, and the problem of flooding. The idea to create a crowdsourced map where all the people could implement and could provide information to identify environmental emergency in Sicanoville, especially addressed to the suburbs, to the slums, and other informal areas in the city, in order to give the opportunity to the local authority to provide an adequate response, but also to give the opportunity to the people to co-create and promote some bottom-up initiative of co-management at community level. The following initiative will be all the initiative implemented through a crowdsourced approach. And the crowdsourced approach has been used also for creating smart solutions for urban mobility. And the idea is to create an online crowdsourced map where will be possible for the formal and for the informal transportation to use this platform and to be connected with some other online platform very famous, such as Google Maps, for example, and to be informed and to inform citizens about all the type of the transportation. The following initiative will be dealing with the same philosophy. We have developed also another type of crowdsourced smart application for agriculture and food, where there will be also the aim to build an hub incubator, so-called From Food to Health, supporting social justice and fairness. And another really important initiative for supporting the housing and the land tenure rights. So we will use the social tenure domain model, which has been already implemented by UN Habitat in other territories, and will be used also in Sicanoville, where is forecasted a strong participatory framework, where we'll be discussing and implementing the really important topic about the land tenure and the land titling. And the other initiatives are under the pillar number 2 which will use the crowdsourced resources, will be about the safer cities for girls and women, the health care and through community lead, and the inclusive economic smart system. In all of these initiatives, the protagonists will be the people who will be able to share data, and the local authority will be able to use those data to better create and shape services and facilities for its citizens. Last but not least, there is the third pillar about the digital empowerment to reduce the digital divide and foster the human rights. And under this pillar, we have forecasted two important initiatives. The first one is to provide accessible free internet zones in the strategical urban and rural areas, especially addressed to poor and to marginalized people, all the people who not have the access to internet and to the ICT. And the last but not least initiative is dealing with the permanent program of computer and technology literacy for citizens in order to ensure the equal opportunity and focus especially on the underprivileged people, through the idea to launch the campaign of digital ambassadors and school involvement. But I would like to spend some words about this idea to engage the digital ambassadors, because we are keen in engaging the young people and to support the local communities, especially the most excluded people, with a philosophy of people for the people. So the digital ambassadors will be trained about the innovation of the smart city concept, and they will be able to engage the local communities, to engage the marginalized people, and to explain to that how to benefit from this digital transformation. Thank you so much. And with this last slide, I have concluded my presentation. I hope that you have been able to see and to listen everything, because in this time I haven't listened nothing. And now I give the floor to the main stage. Thank you so much for listening.
Graphic differences, but we also see how technology is an ally for the citizen. And this country of Southeast Asia, despite difficulties like poverty, they are really taking into their hands fishing in deep waters, the leadership of women, to engage them in communitary tasks, and how to use information in those communities and develop programs that have conjoint collaboration with the community, because there is this difficulty of poverty, but there are programs that reach the people so that they can develop all this conjoint work. Okay, we want to remind you, all of our audience, that we are in the digital platforms, YouTube and Facebook. And at the end, we're going to open the requirement for now from Cambodia to Europe. We are connected to Spain. Ani Milenio Áñez, she is General Director of Bilbao TIC in the center of Bilbao, Spain. Welcome, Annie.
Hola, buenas tardes. ¿Se me escucha bien?
Are you listening to me okay? Yes, we are. Welcome.
Perfecto, muy bien. Estupendo, muchísimas gracias.
Thank you
Perfecto, me
so
voy a quitar los
much.
cascos para no escuchar al mismo
I'm
tiempo la
going to
traducción en
take my
inglés. ¿De acuerdo?
headphones off so I don't listen to the translation at the same time.
Cuando me indiquéis, puedo empezar.
You can start. You can start now.
Perfecto, muy bien, muchas gracias. Muy bien, lo primero, ¿me escucháis, verdad?
Yes, we're listening to you fine.
Perfecto, lo primero, transmitir nuestro más
The first
profundo
is that we
agradecimiento
want
por la
to thank
invitación al área
everybody for the
metropolitana del
invitation to
Valle
the
de Aburra
metropolitan
a
area
participar
of
en este
Amburra
primer
to
foro
participate in this
metropolitano,
first
este
Metropolitan
primer foro
Forum
internacional de ciudades
of
inteligentes.
smart
Es un verdadero
cities. It
placer
is a
compartir
great
nuestros
pleasure to
aprendizajes con
share
todos vosotros.
everything we have learned with you.
La siguiente slide, por favor.
Next slide, please.
Muy bien, perfecto. En principio tenéis vosotros la presentación para ir pasándola. No sé si preferís alguna otra opción.
I don't know if you have the presentation. You can show us your presentation in your screen.
Muy bien. Tengo desactivado la opción de compartir contenido.
I have deactivated the sharing component.
Continúa desactivado.
They have a presentation with smart cities where they are going to share their presentations. We just had from Cambodia. She was dedicated to social work, but with use of connectivity, the use of the digital world to connect the young people in the territories. And it's difficult because of the social conditions. Yes, so be patient, those that are connected. So we have different schedules because we have guests from all around the world. But we can solve that fast so that the guest can share your presentations with you. A smart city, Ani Mileni Ibanez from Bilbao, Spain. Ani, can you share your presentation now? She is solving some digital issues. Let's give her a second. And that's one of the challenges. There are some schedule differences, but that doesn't
un segundito, por favor, ¿eh? Sí.
stop us from sharing. You know, because of the pandemic of COVID-19, a lot of things migrated to digital area, so that all the participants that are connected through Facebook and YouTube, you can have exchange of experiences and things learned from our territories and our municipalities. We have had 4 municipalities participating, Girardota, Barbosa, and from the south we have La Estrella and Itagüí. But we have also had guests from all the continents. Now we are next to connect from Bilbao's mayor's office.
segundito.
So we also had people from Latin America. Now we are beginning to see the
No, todavía
presentation.
no, ¿eh?
I don't know if she can speak now and some exchange of experiences. The idea is that you are able to
Sí, un
share
segundito.
your presentation. Meanwhile, we are here to tell you that this exchange of experiences come from a lot of places. We have had from Riga, Lithuania, San Antonio, United States, Buenos Aires, in locally La Estrella, Barbosa. We're going to have El Salvador and the UK. And now from Bilbao, Spain.
Lo tengo en la pantalla, no sé si vosotros lo podéis ver.
I don't know if you can see it now.
¿Sí? ¿Sí? Perfecto.
Now we have it.
Muy bien, estupendo, estupendo.
Very
Muy
good,
bien.
very good.
Perfecto. Bueno, pues de nuevo, muchísimas
Well,
gracias.
again, thank you so
Muchísimas
much
gracias por vuestra invitación. Es
for
un
your
verdadero
invitation.
placer
It's a
compartir
great
todos
pleasure
nuestros
being able
aprendizajes
to
con
share
todos vosotros.
everything learned with
Las
you.
ciudades evolucionan, se transforman.
Cities evolve,
Bilbao
they
es un claro
transform,
ejemplo de
and
transformación
Bilbao is a
urbanística
clear
disruptiva.
example
Tras la crisis
of
industrial de los años
transformation
70, Bilbao
after
renació,
the
transformándose en una urbe
crisis of
cosmopolita y de diseño, elaborándose un plan para
1970.
impulsar la economía,
Bilbao
mejorar la
was
calidad de vida de los
reborn,
ciudadanos y
improving
revitalizar
the
la ciudad
quality
como
of
centro de
life of the
servicios.
people and
Igual que la
improving
sociedad y la
all the
economía
services
había
like
avanzado y
society
demandaba un nuevo
and
modelo de ciudad,
services.
desde
We
hace
needed
más de
a
10
new city
años nos
model, so
encontramos
for
en
more
un
than
giro
10 years
trascendente con la
we are
sociedad
doing
digital
a total
impregnando un nuevo
change
tipo de
digitally,
necesidades.
integrating different
Bilbao
kinds of needs.
afrontó y sigue
Bilbao
desarrollando nuevos
faced
retos de esta
different
sociedad digital
challenges
para
of this
continuar
digital
evolucionando
society,
el modelo Bilbao
continuing
Smart City,
evolving.
referencia de calidad
Bilbao
de vida.
Smart City, reference of quality
Algunas
of life.
tendencias en esta
Some
nueva sociedad
trends in the
digital a
new
las que hay
digital
que dar respuesta
society
son
that
desde
we
los
have to
retos de
give
transformación
response
digital, el
to the
crecimiento
digital
demográfico y población
transformation,
urbana,
the
el
demographic
envejecimiento de la
growth,
población,
the
las demandas
aging of the
crecientes de la
population,
ciudadanía de un
the
mayor nivel de
increasing
servicio y
demands
de
of the
mayor calidad,
citizens of
el
services
desarrollo
and
económico y
quality,
proyección exterior,
economic
la sostenibilidad,
development,
cuidando del medio ambiente,
sustainability,
y la
taking care
respuesta
of the
a todos estos
environment,
retos
and
es una
response to
transformación
all these
continua de la
challenges
ciudad
is a
hacia una
continuous
ciudad más
transformation of the
inteligente, en
city.
definitiva,
It has
una
been
ciudad
a
más
smarter
habitable,
city
una ciudad
and more
smart.
profitable and more
¿Me
smart.
escucháis bien, verdad?
Are you listening to me okay? Yes, we are.
Estupendo, muy bien. Estupendo. Bueno, como sabéis, hay muchos
Like you
modelos
know,
de
we
Smart
have
Cities.
different models of
Bilbao
smart
Smart
city.
City se define como un
Bilbao
modelo de
Smart City
gobernanza urbana
is
enfocada
urban
en mejorar
governance
la calidad de
focused
vida de
to
la
improve the
ciudadanía,
quality of life of the
estimular su economía
citizens
y proteger su medio
and
ambiente
protect
impulsados por
the
la tecnología.
environment boosted
Las
by
tecnologías de la información y
technology.
comunicación, las infraestructuras, los datos y las
TIC
aplicaciones smart ponen los cimientos para
have
facilitar
the
la creación
basis
de
to
servicios
facilitate
inteligentes,
the
la
creation of
generación de talento,
intelligent
la
services,
competitividad de la ciudad y, en
creation of
consecuencia,
talent,
la calidad de
competitiveness
vida
of
de la
the city,
ciudadanía.
and quality of life of the citizens.
Para disponer de un marco que nos defina
To
las
have a
distintas
framework,
dimensiones, Bilbao Smart City ha elegido el framework de la Unión
Smart
Europea,
City
que se ha
has
integrado por 6
chosen the
dimensiones.
European
La
Union
gobernanza
framework.
para la mejora de la capacidad de
It's
administrar
divided in
eficientemente los
6.
recursos, ejecutar
First,
políticas.
governance and
La dimensión de la
policies.
economía, mejora
Second,
la capacidad
economy,
de la
the
ciudad para desarrollarse
improvement
en
to
términos de
develop
empleo y
in
crecimiento
jobs
económico.
and economic growth.
La dimensión de
The
movilidad
dimension of
para la
mobility
mejora del
for the
tráfico, el fomento
improvement
de opciones de
of
transporte
the
más rápidas,
roads
más
to have
ecológicas y
faster
baratas.
commuting
La
time.
dimensión de calidad de
The
vida
dimension
promueve la
of
salud
quality
y
of
el
life.
bienestar.
It
La
promotes
dimensión de ciudadanía
well-being
y
and
sociedad
health.
agrupa tributos
Citizen and
relacionados con el
society
capital humano de la ciudad,
with
la educación, la
human
inclusión
capital,
social y la colaboración
social
ciudadana.
inclusion and
Y por
citizens
último, la
collaboration,
dimensión
and
del medio
finally,
ambiente sostenible en el
environment,
futuro,
being
a través del
sustainable
análisis
to
del
the
medio natural, las
future,
fuentes de energía,
the
agua,
energy
urbanismo,
sources,
detectando el uso y la
water,
fuga de contaminación,
urbanism,
además de predecir las
pollution,
necesidades de
and
mantenimiento y
predicting
reducción de
the need
residuos.
of maintenance and reduction of waste.
Y luego ha desarrollado diferentes líneas de actuación en estas dimensiones.
So in
Bilbao
these
aparece en
dimensions,
algunos
Bilbao,
rankings, en
we have
posiciones muy
some
destacadas.
rankings
A modo de
in
ejemplo,
highlight
en la primera edición
population.
del
In the
INT
first
Smart City
population,
Index del
the
2019
INT
por el
of
Centro de
the
Competitividad
Index of
Mundial y la Universidad de
2019
Tecnología y
at
Diseño
the
de Singapur,
University of
Bilbao está en
Singapore.
la posición 9
Bilbao
de
is in the
102
ninth
ciudades en todo el
position
mundo,
of
en función de
102
una serie de
cities in the
criterios
whole
que
world,
miden cómo los
based on
ciudadanos
certain
perciben
criteria,
el alcance y
how
el
the
impacto de los
citizens
esfuerzos para
perceive
hacer
the
que sus
scope
ciudades sean
of
inteligentes,
that the cities are
equilibrando
really smart,
los aspectos
and the
económicos,
different
tecnológicos con
aspects
las
of
dimensiones
technology
humanas.
with the human dimensions.
Bilbao Smart City responde a una Smart City singular,
Bilbao is a
basada
very
en valores
special smart
participativos
city
de esta
based on
sociedad bilbaína,
participative
definidos en la
values
Carta de Valores
defined
de la
in the
Ciudad de Bilbao,
Charter
y
of
potenciando las
Bilbao
capacidades
and
transformadoras de Bilbao.
empowering
La sociedad digital nos trae nuevos
the
retos, como
digital
la privacidad,
society
la
brings
ética
us
del uso de
challenges,
datos y la
privacy,
ciberseguridad.
use of data,
Para
and
abordarlos, hemos
cybersecurity.
planteado
To
principios
approach
que marcan
them,
nuestra
we
actuación
need
en el desarrollo de
principles
Bilbao
to
Smart City.
frame our actions.
Centrado en la
Centered
ciudadanía,
in the
nuestro objetivo es
citizens,
mejorar los
our
servicios
objective is
existentes y
improving the
descubrir junto a la
existing
ciudadanía
services
nuevos
and
servicios que
discover
les
new
permitan
services
disfrutar de
that will
Bilbao, ser
allow
más competitivos,
to have a
solidarios y
more
sostenibles.
competitive Bilbao and
Seguridad
more
desde el
sustainable.
diseño.
Security from
Considerando
the
la protección de nuestra
design
ciudadanía
point of
desde las
view,
primeras etapas de
since
diseño
the
de
first
cualquier
stages
servicio o
of
solución.
design of any service or
Privacidad,
solution.
velando por la privacidad de
Privacy,
nuestra ciudadanía en un
surveilling the
entorno
privacy
altamente
of our
tecnificado.
citizens in a very high
Inclusión,
technified
aprovechando el potencial
environment.
de la
Inclusion,
tecnología para acercar a las
to
personas
get
a
people
través de la
closer
colaboración y
through
la generación de
collaboration
redes
and
de solidaridad
generation of
interculturales e
solidarity,
intergeneracionales.
intercultural and
Transparencia, considerando la
intergenerational.
transparencia como un deber
Transparency,
municipal, pero
because
también como una
transparency
oportunidad de que se
is
conozca
an
la calidad de nuestra
opportunity,
gestión.
but also a duty of the
Sostenibilidad,
citizens.
cuidando de lo nuestro y del futuro de
Sustainability,
Bilbao,
taking
pensando en la
care of
sostenibilidad
what we have
medioambiental, pero
and taking
también
care
en
of
la económica y
Bilbao,
en la social.
thinking about
Responsabilidad,
economic and
es labor
social
de
area.
todos contribuir a que
Responsibility,
Bilbao
it's
sea smart.
everybody's task to make Bilbao a smart city.
En el plan de mandato municipal
In the
2019-2023,
municipality
una de las
mandate,
líneas
one of the
prioritarias de
priority
actuación es
lines
Bilbao Smart
is
City.
Bilbao Smart
Una
City.
estrategia
A
Bilbao Smart City
strategy,
a escala
smart
urbana
city at
requiere de la
urban scales,
participación y
requires the
co-creación de todos los
participation of
agentes que
all of
influyen
the
en el
agents
devenir de la ciudad.
that
A
influence the
continuación vamos a
city.
compartir
Now
algunos de
we're
los
going to
proyectos de
share
la
some of the
estrategia Bilbao Smart
projects
City.
for the strategy of Bilbao Smart City.
Biotip es un proyecto SMART
Biotip
vinculado
is a
a
smart
Bilbao como
project.
destino turístico inteligente.
It is
Su objetivo es crear un
smart
acompañante virtual que ofrezca al
destination,
turista la oferta
digital.
turística de la ciudad,
The
adaptada
objective is to
a sus
create
gustos,
an
preferencias y
online
necesidades
support that
durante su
adapts
visita a
to the
Bilbao.
taste, preferences,
En
and
este
needs of
proyecto
each
se
tourist.
utilizarán
In
tecnologías
this
innovadoras
project, we'll
como
use
asistentes
innovative
virtuales,
technologies
minería
such
de
as
datos, machine learning,
machine learning,
procesamiento, lenguaje
engineering of
natural
data,
o analítica
among
web.
others.
El proyecto Bilbao Wi-Fi, red
Wi-Fi
municipal
Bilbao
abierta
project,
y gratuita, es
open
un
and
servicio
free municipal
consolidado con
network, is a
aproximadamente
consolidated
100.000
network
personas al
with
día haciendo
approximately
uso de ello.
100,000
Uno de
people per
cada tres
day
ciudadanos
using it,
para
one
nuestro
of
país
three
y media.
citizens, to give you
Durante
an
los
idea.
próximos 12, 14, 24 meses,
In the
se
next 1
aumentará
to
la
2
cobertura
years,
de la
we'll
red de una forma muy
increase
notable,
the
llegando a garantizar que
coverage of the
prácticamente
network, guaranteeing close to 100% of coverage for the population so that they have a Wi-Fi at least 150 meters from their residence. The cybersecurity project has turned into a key priority of the Bilbao City Hall. This project is based on creating an information platform in real time that allows to identify and block online threats and to inform citizens about such threats. Likewise, the project integrates a consciousness plan so that the citizens are empowered, giving them tools for the protection in the digital world. With this project, Bilbao is a finalist in the Global Major Challenge of 2021, placed among the 50 cities in the world scale for its ideas that they have innovative solutions during the time of pandemic. we're working from different standpoints, data-driven, the drafting, catalog, the, and artificial intelligence, advanced analytics. In terms of the manifest of these guidelines, we've gathered a summary for the management of the citizen data. And we have used a participative method with public institutions, educational institutions, and so on. In the municipal website of Bilbao, we gather the data from the citizens geolocated based on different categories, such as hospitals or other public spaces. In this map, we can see the location of different cameras in the city. Bilbao, like Medellin, has been pinpointed as an innovative city. The objective of this international network is to establish the pillars for the responsible and ethical use of technologies, promoting transparency, privacy, and security.
In a parallel way of the implementation of the SMART project in Bilbao, we find in this moment in a process of reflection, Faces 2030, a reflection about the model of transformation of the city with a strategic and innovative way that generates opportunities for the city and the people. Digital transformation is a leverage for new opportunities, like a definition for new models of relationship, new products, new services that will help the citizens have a different boost, we could say, economically and socially. We understand digital transformation like the strategic adoption of digital technologies in all the environments of society, not exclusively in the services from the administration to the citizens, but we want to use digitalization as a leveraging tool so that with the other agents, with the citizens, companies, universities, technological centers, and other public administrations will help us give a quantitative and qualitative leap forward to improve the quality and the well-being of Bilbao and the visitors. There is no doubt about competitive for the city, for the economic direct impact as digital and technological sector that attracts companies, attracts talents, creates businesses, new startups, and the important improvement to the transversality of all of the economic sectors. The main challenge of digital transformation is the generation of creating new jobs in the city. We want to create informal technologies centered in the people and technology that improves the quality of life of the citizens, visitors, and tourists. We are going to do this considering the social cohesion, having as a premise no digital gaps, and overcoming difficulties that different sectors might have in access to the knowledge of the new technologies. The new technologies and digitalization can be good to face these new challenges, guaranteeing new challenges and the elimination of barriers. And how the digital tools and digitalization can help the citizens and the companies of Bilbao improve the services and improve the products and improve the quality of life of the inhabitants and visitors. In this context and with these fundamental pillars, this agenda, Digital Transformation 2030, is an ambitious project of digital acceleration. We want to reinforce digital technology to generate richness and employment and giving new services to the public sector and private sector and centering in three main sectors. These three sectors that we have defined as strategic with the public administration, sustainable mobility, commerce, the small commerce, and digitalization of the public administration. Bilbao has more than 350,000 citizens, almost 1 million in the Metropolitan Bilbao. It's a culture of constant transformation. Bilbao is an extraordinary city of open, kind, cosmopolitan people that are concerned for the quality of life, and talent and innovation are part of our DNA. It's a reference in quality of life and social services for the citizens. Today, technology plays a crucial role for development of societies. The team of government municipality is totally committed with Bilbao Smart City with high investment and knowledge that can offer a bright future for everybody. Bilbao City of Values, inclusive and participative city, is more now than ever than the history and technology will give tools to the government to build this. It is a need that will give us a historic opportunity for continuous transformation. Let's leverage on the city's opportunities and complement those to continue developing Bilbao as a digital and intelligent city, Bilbao Smart City. Thank you so much for your interest. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Annie, for this interesting talk from Bilbao. We were receiving a lot of comments, more than 900 people that are connected. So thank you so much, Annie. Thank you so much. And Juan Camilo, they were congratulating free internet is what we need. That was what she was saying. At least in the population, you can have free internet at least 150 meters away from their households, so they can be connected the whole time. Sometimes they can be connected in case of an emergency or a threat. It's an incredible work from other countries and can be a good example so that we can appropriate these strategies in our territory. So let's continue now from Europe to Latin America. Now we have Juan Jose Prada. He is responsible of technological managing from the city of Montevideo in Uruguay. I don't know if the connection is ready with Jose. We are getting connected from Juan Jose Prada. It's important to have direct contact with the people. It is very interesting, Linda, and the people that are participating in intelligent cities is that they have not copied ideas from other territories. And the municipality of La Estrella, we are not copying ideas from other cities to bring to our territory because they are so different. And how in Cambodia they are doing solution for the needs of the territory, like in Spain we did other solutions of big data, of Internet of Things to solve things. And here we are also doing it. And the metropolitan area has opened this place to open experiences to everything that we are doing in the 10 municipalities of the Valle del Aburrá, but what is being done in the world. And what Annie was saying and is smarter city, but more easy to be in them, to inhabitate them. And the people that are connected through social network are highlighting this, that people are working for the people and for the well-being of the people, reaching balance and sustainability. These terms that are used when we speak of smart city, we speak of different faraway terms, and sometimes we are working for the machines, but the citizens are always in the center. All of the citizens are in the center, even in other cities, in the young people, in the social groups. So it's important to recognize all these initiatives. I don't know if our guest is invited. Yes, he is connected from Montevideo, Uruguay. Juan Jose Prada, special greetings. Hello? Are we listening? Warm greetings. Thank you for the invitation. Congratulations for the deployment for this first forum. And thank you so much to the metropolitan area of the Valley of Aburrá. Thank you so much for the presentations that I have followed this morning. Can you see my presentation? Let me find the option for sharing. And meanwhile, Camino, I want to highlight what we're doing in the Valley of Aburrá and the metropolitan area. This is very exciting because it's topics that involve the whole community, and it comes up to mind the recycling topic. We are going to show you how the recycling is going in our territory.
En 500 años.
Unos 700 o 900 años.
Unos 20 años.
Futuro sostenible.
El primer Foro Metropolitano de Ciudades Inteligentes es un espacio para conocer las formas en las que la tecnología mejorará la calidad de vida de los ciudadanos. Será un evento gratuito con certificación de participación entre el 27 y el 30 de julio, que será transmitido a través de la plataforma de YouTube del Área Metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Inscríbete ya en www.metropol.go.co.
Área Metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Futuro sostenible.
El primer Foro Metropolitano de Ciudades Inteligentes es un espacio para conocer las formas en las que la tecnología mejorará la calidad de vida de los ciudadanos. Será un evento gratuito con certificación de participación entre el 27 y el 30 de julio, que será transmitido a través de la plataforma de YouTube del Área Metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Inscríbete ya en www.metropol.go.co.
Área Metropolitana del Valle de Aburrá. Futuro sostenible.
Now we continue with this forum with Juan Jose Prada, responsible of the government of Montevideo, Uruguay. And now we have the presentation on the screen. Juan Jose, you can start now. Again, thank you so much for the invitation. When the invitation arrived to participate from this event, where the topic was sustainable increasing the quality of life, use of resources, and active participation of the citizens. That was exactly the topics is in the ones that we have been working in Montevideo and with smart cities, what we have achieved, some international awards that position us very strongly in these areas. Beyond this, it is important to share in the morning today some of the actions of Montevideo that we can do to create a sustainable, smart territory and social territory with the use of technology, because technology can be disruptive, create change, but when it is framed as part of a plan that involves other cultural resources, social resources, technology is boosted, is driven. So how technologies of the information have improved management process, but framed in a plan that is much more ambitious, that involves actions in the territory with a strong social component. We can say that ABC of a city is lighting, garbage, and the streets. And yes, those are the three main axes of the business administration, of the municipality administration, but in a social and economic context of impoverishment that has been product of the pandemic that has attacked us. It has generated loss of jobs, a loss in economy. So we have designed a plan and some measures to face all these negative impacts. And we understand that no government can be indifferent to this context. So the plan ABC has been done more than 100 interventions. Many of them involve technology. So the idea was to share some of these initiatives in the framework of this plan more globally. To the historical plan ABC, like I said before, lightning, garbage, and roads. This moment imposes us to rename, so we named it Basic Support to the Citizens. The proposal want to improve the solidarity and the quality of life of the people that have been more affected, and to have more protagonism in the communities and opportunities for growth, and to the universal rights. And it has 5 axes: food, equality, work, health, and territory. So very fast, where I'm going to try to describe these initiatives that have been deployed, where technology collaborated with some aspects in the framework of this plan. So the initiatives of the environment, considering sustainability, we generated what we called a greener Montevideo with the use of different channels. It's a WhatsApp line that you can simply call and say that there is waste outside of the containers, and you can talk in this WhatsApp to communicate, and then people come over and they clean it. And that was very good because it was a coordination program from the operational center in Montevideo. Another kind of initiative was experimental pilots using artificial intelligence to detect garbage outside of the container. Here, we want to share the lessons learned. Sometimes the containers are moved around, so then the analytics of the images sometimes can get confused and give some false positive because of the moving of the containers. But the idea is to try to use more and more techniques that are more well supported in data and in analysis of data. Also, we work in geofences, that it allows us to see the maps where you see the containers and we can vary the pickup in a more efficient way. Other developments that we have done in Montevideo, there's a platform of smart city where we gather a lot of varied information of different kind of devices, quality of air, environmental quality, sound, of rainwater, so we can take actions very fast according to the indicators, whatever they show. In the topic of mobility, it's safer transportation and better for the inhabitants. The key is to work with the evidence. And here is where we have been working very strongly in permanently monitoring everything and gathering data and taking actions in consequence. Some of these are pilots in different parts of Montevideo. In some cases, they are varied to other zones. And why do I say this? Because whatever solution can be adapted in different cities, but always it has to be adapted to that particular city. And inside the city, not the same solution can have the same result. So it depends on the context. We have to adapt to the context of the territory. So some of these actions that we have been developing linked to mobility is a closed camera circuit to prevent bullying, violence, pilot modification of video analytics, prioritizations of the traffic lights to give more preference to the public transportation. So we are also working with pilots based in artificial intelligence with video analytics. They were done more changes since March. These changes were an important framework because it allowed us to improve and reach places that we could not offer transportation before. So before, we did not have that kind of mobility service. We designed data analytic tools so we could analyze daily and analyze the peaks where the mobility was reduced during the pandemic, and these would save costs for transportation according to the demand of mobility that there existed in the city. For a long time, we are doing monitoring in real time of the transportation system that allows us to see how the flow of the transportation goes and how to provide those location in real time, and allows us to see the users when they arrive and to plan their trips better. We have an app called Como Ir that gives us real-time information, and something that we included, and it was with the participation of the citizens. We generated a community of beta testers. According to the feedback from the users, we test the app before launching a new version. We validate with the community if the new planning is what was expected by the citizens. According to the territory, as part of the Plan ABC, about feeding and nourishing, Montevideo was hardly affected, strongly affected by the pandemic because of the problems during the pandemic and unemployment that we all know about. So we crossed information with the integrated system nationwide, and we allowed to establish those places where we could offer donation of instruments, of food, and then they were geo-referenced in a map, and people could go there to get fed. So that information is available in open data. So all those kinds of actions involved to improve in some way and politicize the assistance to these places and jobs. The intendancy generated what we call solidarity journals that has to do with the inclusion of more than 4,000 staff people. They did like a raffle because of the pandemic. They raffled some subscriptions from technology point of view. We designed a survey and the management and the logistics of how those people were going to receive the tickets to get commuted to the workplaces in each one of the places that they were going to work in, and all the logistic that this implied. Another thing that we could work on recently and that we have launched is the Rural Areas Plan. And it has to make Montevideo more beautiful, we can say. The sidewalks sometimes are not in a very good shape, so we launched a product with the support of the citizens. We're going to try to make the sidewalks more beautiful, to beautify our city, and that generates 1,200 jobs in the first stage. We're doing some pilots in some of the towns, so this generates new working places. In the topic of health, we have connectivity to 11 hospitals in the context zone that is more complex, that people could get closer to these hospitals and get their vaccination. And hand in hand with what our friend of Bilbao was saying, we deployed a project of free Wi-Fi in Montevideo, and this is important because it's with proper infrastructure, with our own infrastructure, and we deployed more than 50 connectivity points that is free for everybody, Wi-Fi free. And that implied that in the moments where the schools, for example, they had been closed and the classes were virtual, then the students could get connected to that environment and take the classes virtually because now they had the Wi-Fi, because in some zones of Montevideo, internet is not available. They don't have very good connection. So because of equal opportunities, this was a very interesting aspect to highlight. About participation, the governments have to foster participation through communication of their actions clearly and listening to the opinions of the citizens. The governments have to present very clearly where do they want to go and take decisions based on evidence and with concrete facts and with arguments in pro and against. We have to learn how to listen to the people, what they really need for their neighborhood, for their territory, and not just go out there and do things because they think it should be done and it's an improvement. We always have to listen to the proposals of the people to receive feedback. And this is fundamental because if not, we are not speaking about participation. Montevideo has a platform of citizens participation where there is idea reception, it fosters debates, and in the framework of COVID, there was a lot of interaction Now we are in the redesign and restructuring process of the platform of Montevideo Decides. But clearly, it's an important channel in a government of closeness. On the other hand, we have developed a listening platform of the media where the citizens do requests or they complain for some services and they don't use the usual channels, the traditional channels. They use the media, so we also monitor that. So we developed a platform of listening to the network, again using techniques, like a friend said, processing of natural language, techniques that will allow to define. Here you see a dashboard of the listening of Twitter. We have to detect if the tweets come from Montevideo, where they come from, what is the topic. So there's a processing of that volume of information that is key. And another initiative that we believe is important to highlight is the chatbot. It's an integration that we did about WhatsApp, where we have that tool for disseminating this kind of actions with the virtual assistant. It's a bot that it's in the web page. So those two tools have been integrated. And today we have a good information channel with the citizens where we can ask different questions to the chat bot. Right now we are emphasizing in communication with the Plan ABC. So in general, all these initiatives and the main focus that we have set all this time is in what we have to do with data analysis. It's a strong area in data analytics. It was created with the objective to handle more efficient, more aspects of the city, and has important tools for analysis and visualization of the data. We are doing many pilots that involve techniques of artificial intelligence and the conventional data. I mentioned some that involves video or messages. We have a rich tradition in Montevideo in data. Data and availability of data and services. It was the first city in Latin America in 2008 where we had available open data. And the next step was not only having them available, but also the algorithms and available services, open services. So right now we are working in a vision. We are working very hard in what has to do with innovation. So today, what we have in mind is generate an observatory in Montevideo. In the beginning, because of the difficulties, we will do a first observatory that has to do with generating data and concentrate data and services and indicators related to the environment. But the idea is to have an observatory of the city, not only for transparency aspects, but to make a big bet in research, mostly in analytics and evidence for decision making. So that's the idea. It's not only generating data with no purpose, but to have the consumers and the public in general, the academy, the startups, the companies, the organized civil society, journalists, and students in general be part of it. So to round everything up, I believe it is important to frame it and how these actions impact in the SDGs. The key of the SDGs is integration, because the interventions in an area in some way are going to affect the result in another area, and that development has to be balanced in that sustainability, economically and socially. The ABC plan is headed towards that path, and the impact of the proposal that I was trying to summarize today and to share with you, we can measure it in relationship and association to the SDGs, and specifically to highlight some of them and what we have said that are linked to stop poverty and SDGs of health and environment, equality, education, decent work, reduction of inequality, and sustainable cities. All the team that is working in our intendancy is very much committed to work with this ABC plan. We feel the same commitment from all the neighbors of Montevideo. We have to continue working in these kind of actions with more innovations centered in the people, with equity, commitment, and work with evidence, with a permanent monitoring of what is happening and correcting if it is necessary. And like I always say when I do a presentation, we do not have to work for the citizen. We have to work with the citizen. So thank you so much for this space. It is a pleasure to having been with you. To Mr. Juan Jose Prada, thank you so much for your company. Thank you for sharing these experiences that have to do with decision making use of the talent in analytics and artificial intelligence. It really caught our attention about the traffic. So we are very happy to listen to all these experiences, and we continue moving forward. Now we have ready our next judge. He is the director of Latin American Hub, Salim Chalen Alafa. Thank you for being with us. Thank you so much for this invitation. I want to tell you a little bit about what we have been building several years ago from the focus of innovation and transformation. So to start with, the Latin American Hub of Transformation is a practical community that involves different institutions that generate knowledge, universities, entities, public institutions of research, and other actors to go deeper in innovation that has a specific innovation and give direction to the challenges that we have. This practice of communities is inserted in global initiatives like you can see here in the northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere that are looking for strategic developments that we have to promote with the African Hub, European Hub, and different institutional actors from different countries. We have advanced in this process of inserting a new way of doing public policies to the national and local contexts. I was speaking about the previous talk and the impact of SDGs and the great challenges that we have in society to move forward. When we analyze the 17 SDGs, we could think that these are isolated actions. However, when we review each one of them, the goals, we can realize that there's a group of SDGs that are intervention areas specifically. Other is a constitutional fund that can help us reach the SDGs. And there are other SDGs that are transversal and that can nourish and generate a greater impact in those interventions. So from the policy of transformative technology, we have found that the traditional way of doing public policy and in science, technology, and innovation have not been enough to attend to the challenges of development. So that's why we want to work with this framework of innovation. What it proposes is a direction to the public policy of science, technology, and innovation, and that direction is marked by centering the image of our goals as society to include several actors, citizen, community organization, entrepreneurial support, the state, the government, facing to understand what are the environmental and social challenges, and then generate strategies of transformation and transition. This framework of innovation goes beyond the traditional frameworks, is focused through science and how we can generate innovations and how we can generate economic growth. And a second framework that is more associated to the configuration of national systems of innovation and technology. We know specific cases, the articulations between university and the state, triple helix or quadruple helix. With the innovation of transformative innovation, is that the two previous frameworks have not been enough to face the challenges. So want to give direction to innovation to generate changes and sustainable transformation. And this happens because to drive that transformative change and change the socio-technical aspects. How can we change and take this to the territory? Think about mobility systems. When we speak about sustainable mobility, we are speaking about changing fossil fuel vehicles to vehicles that are electrical or that have low emission of greenhouse gases. Here we can have sustainable mobility because we are not generating so much pollution, but we are not solving mobility problems. We're going to have the same density of traffic, so that is not solution, that is more sustainable for the solution of mobility. So this framework of innovation proposes to generate changes in how we are behaving, what are the beliefs, and what are the norms and values that have been configured through different social systems and technical systems like mobility, energy, the environment, among others. And that is from a point of view that could be a little bit complex, but I'm going to explain it in a very simple example. The focus of transformative technology, it has different levels that show the participation of different actors in the process of changes and in the transitions that we need. In the top part, the context is showing us what are the global trends that mark that social configuration. For example, we have climate change and the concern for climate change. Like we were saying before, the inclusion of information technologies that has generated tools to facilitate or propose solutions to the territories and demographic changes and how our population is changing and the trends that are being generated in the work world. So we have some global trends that are generating pressures to the social and technical systems that we have configured. So they generate norms, rules, and decrees in the ways we act in the different actors of society to adapt to those global trends. And that is the second level, a level to speak of social technical regimens where we behave in a homogeneous way to adapt to those global trends. And there's a third level, and it's the niches or alternatives. So all these citizens' interactions There are sustainable alternatives that want to change the rules, that want to change the social values, to generate social transitions. So let's go back to sustainable mobility. We changed from fossil fuel vehicles to electric vehicles, but in the bottom there are other alternatives. For example, mobility in bicycle and how it begins to be more used, and citizens use it more and more, and it's an efficient way of transportation. Not only mitigates the greenhouse gas effects, but solves traffic problems, and it changes the dynamics of social configuration. And this is what allows us to configure new ways of doing policies. The inclusion of the society is not only consultation, but also construction and protection of alternatives that are sustainable, and that from public policy they can drive great transformations in the long term. Some considerations that can be given from this focus of transformative technology in the Valley of Aburrá is that it gives us direction. We know where we have to aim all these policies. For the case of Medellin, facing the great challenges of sustainable development, and how to begin to involve more actors to these alternatives, how to protect them so that in the medium and long term we can do transformation sustainable projects. A second recommendation has to do with the niches of experimentation. How do we begin to identify with innovation nodes all those initiatives that are being developed in the Valley of Aburrá, in the different municipalities in the city of Medellin, and that can be generating great transformation in how we move. So there are some communities inside Medellin and other cities, how they are consuming energy in another way, and some agricultural processes are also changing in a sustainable way. So we have to protect them, and with configuration of innovation nodes, we can begin to drive them towards the future. And we have new actors as well. Like I said previously, the democratic processes of participation can not only be consultation processes. We have to begin to protect and generate alternatives that are more sustainable in the long term. So that is a proposal that we have been building. We have examples of experimentation in the whole continent. In Mexico, we have agri-industrial processes. In citrics, in Chile, we are working with the use of efficiency of water for agriculture. In Colombia, we have different projects of experimentation in circular economy, the use of resources in Bogota, Medellin, and there is a great amount of proposals that show us how these policies of transformative technology and innovation is really making a change. And we are part of a global community. You can find that in Switzerland, Norway, Holland, China. There are similar processes where we generate changes and transformation, how we do public policy in a more inclusive and sustainable way in the long term. Thank you so much for this space. This is my email. You can write. This is the web page. We are promoting for September a workshop for open workshop for public policy. So please participate and propose your initiatives, and we can build together with this approach. Salim Chalel Anafaf, he is coordinator of the Caribbean Hub. Thank you so much for being with us and for sharing us these experiences. Thank you so much. Okay, Linda. We were speaking about the fourth helix and how the people are doing transformation, sustainable processes. Yes, Juan Camilo, speaking of transitional processes and the people that are interested in these topics, now we are going to speak to UK with Priscilla Goddard. She is president of Careful Connected in London, UK. So welcome, Priscilla. Warm greeting.
Thank you very much, Linda. Thank you for welcoming me today. So I will start my presentation now. I'll share my screen. I do apologize. I do hear the translation. I'm not sure if it's right. No problem at all. Thank you very much. Yes, can you hear me? Hello? My microphone is on though. I can hear you. I can hear you. Yes. Is that okay? Hello? Can you hear me now? If you can hear me now, I'll just do the presentation even though I can hear you, that's fine. Yeah. I don't mind, I will just put the sound down. Okay, can I go ahead? Sorry, can someone tell me if that's okay? Hello? Hello? All right. I had to go ahead that I can start. I do apologize for the technical issues. So I'll start again with the presentation now. So I hope you can see my screen clearly. So good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Priscilla Goddard, and I'm the Global Partnerships Officer at Connected Places Catapult. I am very pleased to be with you today for the first edition of the Metropolitan Forum of Smart Cities. So the aim of the forum today is to showcase the type of initiative implemented at city level around the thematic of sustainable development and quality of life of citizens, among others. So I've duly taken this into consideration, and I will focus on a key initiative to address air quality, which is the implementation of ultra-low emission zones in London. So firstly, I just wanted to give a few words about my organization. So Connected Places Catapult is the UK Centre of Excellence for Innovation in Mobility, Smart Cities and the Built Environment. It is a non-for-profit organization which is partly funded by the UK government. We do work very closely with local and national governments, academia, and industry to accelerate the adoption of innovations which boost physical, digital, and social connectivity in places, cities, and communities. So our vision is to bring together the best of British. We have more than 250 people working at the Catapult with industry experts in the fields of urban design, master planning, economy, and impact assessments, among other domains. We also work with innovation partners who help us shape demand and mature international markets. We have a strong network of academic partners who can coordinate research on behalf of the industry. And we do cultivate a network of over 3,000 SMEs who we work with to develop their technical and commercial offerings. So at the Catapult, our aim is to address specific barriers to innovation, and this is brought to life through a program of activities to connect, spark, and accelerate. We help connect the market by facilitating engagement between the public sector, the private sector, and research. We convene the stakeholders to help remove regulatory and entry barriers and showcase UK businesses abroad. We also spark new opportunities by convening experts from different fields to develop and test new ideas. And finally, we accelerate the commercialization of SMEs by providing opportunities to take part in demonstrator, testbed trial, and accelerators. So for myself, I sit within the global team at Connected Places Catapult. And our role at the global team is to deliver the organization vision on a global scale. So we have been working very closely with global companies, local authorities, and organizations to design and deliver more than 30 projects in the world. For example, we recently completed a project in Indonesia to address transport decarbonization challenges through the adoption of e-mobility solutions. We also delivered a flagship program called Urban Links Africa in 6 cities in South Africa and Kenya to address challenges with urban innovations that was originated from equitable partnerships between UK and African SMEs. So in Latin America, we have recently completed a project that was commissioned by the UK Foreign and Commonwealth Development Office in Chile and Colombia that aims to understand the opportunities to work in Latin American cities along net zero issues. We also looked at how we can promote equitable partnerships to accelerate the net zero transformation of 6 cities in Latin America and encourage clean growth. So one of the key deliverables of this project was to develop net zero profiles in the cities of Santa Marta, Bucaramanga, and Villavicencio in Colombia, and Antofagasta, Concepción, and Iquique in Chile. And this profile gives the city's position against key net zero indicators and the main urban challenges the city is facing to promote clean growth. So those snapshots also allow these cities to understand what it takes to reach carbon neutrality. So I believe that this presentation will be shared with you later on. So please feel free to consult our online page if you want to have more information about it. So now moving on to the hot topic, I would like to share more details on how London addressed its air quality issues with the implementation of its ultra low emission zone. So firstly, at national level, we know that air quality is recognized as being a key issue to address. So in the UK, DEFRA, which is the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, has mentioned air quality being the largest environmental health risk in the country. In fact, in 2019, the government analyzed the impact of pollutants on human beings in the short term and long term, and developed a clean air strategy from that. So you can visualize here a snapshot of this impact, where we can see that, for example, primary particulate matters is by far the most dangerous. So with this as a basis, cities have taken action to tackle pollution. So now I'm gonna focus on the London response to air quality issues. So firstly, what about London? I would like to give you just a key information about London. It is the capital and the largest city in England and the United Kingdom. It has overall a population of 9.4 million inhabitants as of 2021. It is, as you can see here, it is organized into 32 boroughs and the City of London. So each of those boroughs are managing their own government functions, and the city is crossed by the River Thames. As of 2019, London had one of the most important financial centers in the world and is one of the most cosmopolitan global cities. Indeed, it has a very diverse range of population with more than 300 languages spoken. And as of 2018, 36% of the population was born, of the London population was born outside the UK. So that was just a few facts around London. So what is the air quality challenge in the London context? So the Greater London Authority, which is the regional governance of London, and Transport for London, which is in charge of managing the transport network in the city, developed the London Atmospheric Emission Inventory that you can visualize here. So this helps visualize the level of pollution in the city. And this map reflects the level of pollution back in 2016. So thanks to the data that has been collected, the Greater London Authority and Transport for London understood that more than 450 schools were located in areas exceeding legal air quality limits for nitrogen dioxide, and every Londoner lived in an area exceeding the World Health Organization guideline limit for fine particulate matter. Without surprise, road transport was the one to blame, as it was producing around half of London's nitrogen dioxide pollution. Therefore, this issue had to be addressed as a priority. So as a result of this, the Mayor of London launched the ultra-low emission zone in central London. And this ultra-low emission zone is run by Transport for London. So they are the one managing it. ULEZ, as we call it, is critical to the Mayor's plan to improve the health of Londoners by cleaning up the city's toxic air, which led to the early death of thousands of Londoners every year. So the ULEZ zone was launched in April 2019, and covers the same area as the congestion charge that is running in central London since 2003. So for information, the congestion charging zone was created in central London to reduce traffic by enforcing a daily charge to vehicles entering the zone. So in addition to this, all vehicles that do not meet the ultra low emission zone standards must also pay an additional charge. So most vehicles that do not meet those standards needs to pay a daily fee to enter the zone. So to give you an example, cars that were not complying with the minimum standard had to pay £12.50 in addition to the £15 of congestion charge to enter the city, which is the equivalent of $38 per day, both charges combined, which is obviously quite heavy. So this zone, this ULEZ zone, is in operation 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day of the year, except during Christmas. And all the money raised is reinvested into London's transport system. So now moving on to the impact of implemented such a zone. So 10 months after the launch of ULEZ, a report was disseminated, and most of the key impact lies around the reduction of the number of polluting and non-compliant vehicles in the zone. We have noticed a reduction of 71%, which represents more than a reduction of more than 44,000 vehicles on average per day. There was 79% compliance rate with the ULEZ standard, and obviously ULEZ has significantly improved air quality in the capital, with nitrogen dioxide emissions from road transport down by 31%, which is the equivalent of 200 tons. So after this positive impact of ULEZ, Mayor of London has announced that from October this year, the ULEZ zone will be expanding from central London to create a wider, single larger zone. And the objective is to reduce nitrogen dioxide pollution by a further 28% as part of the UK government plans for London, which is to comply with air pollution limits by 2025. To support this initiative, the Mayor has announced a £5 million funding to support disabled and low-income Londoners to scrap older and more polluting vehicles. So ULEZ is part of numerous clean air initiatives that are taking place in the capital. These initiatives are all monitored and publicly available on datalondon.gov.uk. So also another way to involve the citizen into what is happening in the city. Among the other clean air initiative, we count a clean vehicle program, a school air quality audits, and there are also 12 low emission bus zones in the city, some non-roads mobile machinery, and more electric vehicle infrastructure are being built in the city. And again, to support all those initiatives, Mayor of London has launched an air quality fund with £22 million available over 10 years to support projects by London boroughs to improve air quality. So this is it for my presentation. I hope it gives you an overview and a better understanding of the actions that London is taking to be more sustainable and smart, especially around clean air. And for everyone listening, whether you are a city leader and are keen to stay ahead of the game, Connected Places Catapult provides a very practical support to help city leaders harness the power of innovation. So please feel free to reach out if you have any questions around this presentation, or how we can help boost innovation. And again, on behalf of Connected Places Catapult, thank you very much for listening. And thank you to the Metropolitan area of Valle de Aburrá for inviting us today. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the day. And back to you, Linda. Thank you very much.
Día a día tenemos más personas, tenemos más tráfico, contaminación, y es importante tratar. Definitely, it is impressive what London has done because of the pollution, and we also are living that in the metropolitan area of El Valle de la Aburrá. Maybe to the future, this can apply to the sub-region to improve the quality of life of the metropolitan area. We have to remember that this Metropolitan Forum of Intelligent People is thanks to the metropolitan area of El Valle de la Aburrá. And let's go back to Latin America, a neighboring country. We have to go to Ecuador. We're going to say Javier Capaleon, Solution Engineering of Informatics from the municipality of Quito in Ecuador. He is going to share the strategies with the technology in this part of the planet. I don't know if we have connection already with him. Thank you so much. The microphone is yours. My name is Javier Capas. I'm representative from the municipality of Quito and chief of solutions of informatic area of solution. We're going to speak a little bit about Quito, what we have been doing. Quito, in the census of 2020, registers 2 million. We have 372.4 square kilometers of extension, and we are 2,800 meters above sea level. What is the slogan of Quito? Quito, digital and efficient. So to start with this process, during beginnings of 2019, Quito started with a proposal of being a smart city and supply services to the citizens through technology. For that, it is defined an action plan that included five parts that have been developed by the different entities that are part of the municipality of Quito, trying to comply with this action plan. The preparation phase consists in identifying the fundamental axes that the municipality has to develop and that we have to develop solutions of through smart cities. All of these initiatives, all these ideas, these proposals of change were analyzed by each one of the dependencies to analyze and create the strategies that were going to be aligned with the plan of smart city. After that, the third phase consists, and that is prioritization of the initiatives that are going to have the whole group of smart city and that the city is going through right now. These initiatives were prioritized in 6 main points, and that is traffic management, public security, illumination or lighting, solid waste and garbage, and parking or smart parking. The next plans, the next stages are the definition of the action plan of each one of the prioritized axes, so we can plan a pre-investment and a monitoring system. What are the main points in each one of the axes? The axes that we know are governance, mobility, economic, intellectual, and quality of life. As part of governance, connectivity is transversal, like we can see in the slide. Connectivity is transversal, and among all the different axes, it's transversal. Inside governance, the main focus that the institution has today includes an electronic venue, transparency, interactive streets, communication with the citizen, simplification of paperwork, and digital services. In mobility, we have mobility plans and sustainable urban plans, integration, multimodal of public transportation, deployment of the alternative transportation, ITC, environmental, we have energy efficiency, efficiency in water consumption, atmospheric emissions, integral treatment of garbage, and urban fauna. In economic point, open data, innovation systems, tourism, urbanistic infrastructure, and integration of innovation projects with Conquito. Intellectual access. We are proposing and working on some of these projects have been implemented, like Wi-Fi in the schools of the municipalities, formation in the context of smart city and education. For quality of life, mainly we have health and sanitation, universal accessibility, deployment of technology and innovation for the benefit of the city, and a comprehensive security for the citizen. In this sense, the municipality, we need a construction team like Quito Smart City, like the leader is the mayor in this case. And the vision of smart city is the one that marks as part of the priorities that are defined. the manager. The manager is the one that has the authority in the team so that all the knowledge is put in practice and is linked to all the dependency and is the manager of the multidisciplinary team and part of all the secretariats of the municipality. And the last role is a trainer and a communicator of smart cities. They are in charge of adequating and forming new initiatives. For each one of the axes we saw in a previous presentation, in the case of governance, we have the case of institutional development, production direction, and information management. In mobility, it's in charge of the Secretary of Mobility, the Information Agency, and the Direction of Informatics. As part of the environmental point of view, we have the Environment Secretariat, the Mobility Secretariat, the Security Secretariat through risk management, and for economic, we have the Secretariat for the Citizens, the Territorial and Citizen Participation Secretariat, Territory and Habitat Secretariat, Productive Development Secretariat, Planning Secretariat, Quito Turismo, Cadastre, and Tax. We are with the Secretary of Education, the Secretary of Culture, the ICAM, and Conquito. For quality of life, again, we have the Secretary of Security, the Secretary of Health, the Secretary of Social Inclusion, and the municipality patronate. What is the roadmap that we have for the establishment of this Quito Smart City? First point, the structuring of the multidisciplinary team and identifying a manager of the project. So that's the theme of Quito Smart City. Second phase is to do a diagnosis for the urban problems, for infrastructure, for technology and connectivity that exist in the city. So we need a diagnosis and a vision for the projects that are qualified as prioritary. The third step is to design a comprehensive solution with multi-sectoral vision, which the finality is to have a portfolio of solutions that should be implemented. The fourth point, and that's the elaboration of the plan of implementation and with a schedule of each one of the initiatives defined and prioritized, with indicators of performance, costs, and financing sources. Fifth step is to look for associations to facilitate initiatives, public-private alliances that is the most sustainable to the moment. The sixth step is result evaluation for continuous improvement. Thank you so much for your presence.
We have a guest from Central America, and we're going to talk about the experience of the smart city of its capital, San Salvador. So let's give a warm welcome to Tatiana Miranda and Carlos Calderon, the representatives of the metro area of San Salvador. Good afternoon, and thank you for being with us in this first Smart City Metropolitan Forum. Thank you very much. Tatiana and Carlos, can you hear us? Yes, we can hear you. Okay, welcome, and thanks for being with us in this space. Thank you for inviting us. Please go ahead. The floor is yours. Thank you very much. Let me share my screen. Yes, go ahead. Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation. We are the representatives of the metropolitan area of San Salvador towards the more modernization of the San Salvador area. I'm Tatiana Miranda, coordinator of the Metropolitan Observatory, and Carlos Calderon from the Metropolitan Information System. Okay. With this presentation, we're going to talk about the metropolitan area. In this context, we're talking about institutionality, the initiatives we're developing towards a smart city, and the challenges we have to be able to keep going. Let me tell you that the metropolitan area of San Salvador is an important area of El Salvador where we have a high 27% of the population. And in the future, we're forecasting that we're gonna grow to 2.4 million people. We have 14 municipalities where 33% of the GDP is concentrated, 40% of economic establishments in the country, but we also have some contrasts. Just to mention a few, we have the population living in under the poverty threshold, 15.4%. The growth in vehicle use, the rate of insecurity, we have 19.75 rate of homicides. And we also have this gap in terms of the access to technology, where 55.9% of inhabitants have access to internet. In terms of metropolitan institutionality, the COAMS is the place where we work. It was created in 1987, and it's the first and only experience of the shared collaboration in the country within the framework of the law, and it includes the 14 municipalities. It comprises the Council of Mayors, and this is the political leaders that make these decisions proposed by OPAMS, which is the Office of Planning. It is a technical branch, and we also have another entity. This is the Council for Metropolitan Development. And here we have the participation of the central government and AMPS, and here we have projects that are for the public metropolitan interest. Here we have another entity called PLAMS, and it involves the participation of different areas, civil society, uh, entrepreneurs, and all of them work around the metropolitan focus, searching for a more sustainable development of the city. In terms of competences, the municipal code in the country has 30 competences for the municipalities, but we wanted to clarify that the OPAMS has assumed the topic of planning and authorization of urban development through the development of tools, granting permissions, and all of this gives us autonomy. Through permissions, we can become sustainable in terms of finances. We also support knowledge management, research, and oversight of indicators, strengthening of capabilities, and we also cooperate for the social and economic development of the municipalities through actions that dynamize local economies. When we delve into the topic today, which is smart city, we are at an early stage in this process, but we do have certain bets that we hope are going to be developed in the future. For us, the smart city is the one that puts people in the center, that incorporates ITC in urban management, and it uses tools to stimulate the elaboration of an efficient government, which includes collaborative planning processes, and it tries to satisfy its needs for current and future generations in terms of economic, social, and environmental aspects. It modernizes services, public administration, a greater participation of citizens, and that is sustainable in terms of resources and improves quality conditions for citizens. In this sense, our focus, our approach, is we know that through smart city strategies, we can have an impact on different governance areas, urban planning, competitiveness, among others. But according to our competences and what we do, mainly from an institutional standpoint, we've focused on governance and being able to generate a digital government, an efficient government through service, platforms, open government, strengthening of capabilities. But we also have some initiatives of innovation for the local economic development. And in terms of urban security, these are initiatives that are more developed by the municipalities. Here we have some examples. As we move forward in terms of these topics, in terms of urban security locally, we have 3 of 14 municipalities that have implemented video oversight security systems that are quite modern and sophisticated, with the goal of combating the different harmful actions that happen in municipalities. And this is an oversight that happens in real time. And at some point, we thought about, and it's still in the process, the interconnectivity of these 3 systems. This is curious because these municipalities have made more progress in terms of technology, and they also have better conditions to be able to invest and develop this type of initiatives. What components do these systems have? The installation of cameras in different points of the city that can read the vehicle plates, oversight center linked to municipal agents, the development of mobile apps, panic buttons, and also free access points for Wi-Fi. Another initiative that we have is innovation for the local economic development. And this was launched in December last year. It's called AMS Emprende, and it's a repository of national entrepreneurship initiatives where entrepreneurs could sign up and define what the services they provide are, so to have a catalog of services and products offered by them to the population. And this allows us also to have a map of where these initiatives are located and where they can be developed, where we can develop some actions to strengthen or include these entrepreneurs, so that because they are market generators. So we have this catalog of services and products. We have around 300 entrepreneurs, the strengthening of the skills and capabilities of these people. And we also have the implementation of proximity markets. So far, given the pandemic, we've only implemented 2, but we've forecasted to be able to keep moving forward and to find solutions and to make sure this application is more sophisticated and more interactive. Let me give you with my colleague, Carlos Calderon. Okay, continuing with our presentation, Metropolitan institutionality contributing to smart cities. Our bet, like my colleague said, is centered around digital governance. This is how we've been executing actions to facilitate the procedures necessary for construction in the metro area, and this is where we as an office retake the improvement of the quality index as part of the institutional bets we have, and based on this we've carried out a series of actions focused on risk mitigation, risk assessment. It has 3 stages, and I'm going to focus on the third one because this one is the most related to making procedures virtual. This is the bet. This is something we're betting on. And here, so that it is more clear, we've dedicated to tramitology for construction processes, private and public. We started in 1990, and in 1993, the Law of Development and Land Use for the metropolitan area was created, and what the regulations give us is the permission to act in the territory. Basically, it's 6 types of construction permits that are processed here at the office. Some of them have variants. The first 3, we call them prior procedures. And looking at this bet of digital virtualization, we started in 2019, but the pandemic happened. So this pandemic accelerated the process that we had planned, and we had to carry it out. We have to do some actions to start guaranteeing this service. Logically, this pandemic turned into the closure of the economy, a reduction in the real estate activity. We as an autonomous activity, we saw a reduction in income, close to 40% in comparison to prior years.
the office was closed for in terms of attention for the users. But given that we already had this procedure virtualization strategy, we had a platform on which we were going to operate, and so we became more resilient, innovative, to expedite these virtualization processes, and that's how we focused on providing a better service. We did some digital re-engineering, and we found 3 pillars for us in this technological progress. As of March 2020, a transitional telework process was established to manage requests for construction permissions, and so that the real estate investment wasn't hindered. So we have a virtual counter where all the users and real estate workers and employees could continue their construction processes. So the first one was to improve quickly that service platform. And it implied a modernization and making easier these procedures for the development and construction of real estate projects. And this is where we focused our efforts. Procedures online, everything used to be person to person. Online procedures was our bet. Also, to be able to get a construction permit, the professionals had to be accredited. So we implemented this accreditation by filling out a form and also broadening that credential. And we linked this institutional charging system, and we're improving it also. So going for that online procedure led us to get on this path of, and we've identified 3 phases. The first one is the attention to the user so that they can fill out all the forms necessary and provide all the necessary information. This we refer to as the filling out of the digital form. Then we go to the internal management for analysis. That's what we're working on. This is the internal operation during the process, and then we'll move to the last phase, which would be the resolution and notifying. For phase 1, we've gathered with 3 construction permits. I mean 4, and we're finishing the 5th one. And this has led us also to having a massive spread of information in social media, informing users about the fact that we're open online. We're making the whole process easier online, and this also led us to getting some feedback. We have online inquiries in real time, and users help us to improve our service, providing opinions, suggestions, and that's how we've been also habilitating, allowing for some other services that we hadn't even envisioned. This allows users to see what the status is, what the response times are for the requests, and the time and how their construction permits are moving forward. The modernization of the payment system, it allows us to associate this online system of the forms that are filled out by the users to the collection, so that everything can be done online. The professional accreditation, like I said, we needed a platform to be able to certify the professionals. And the second pillar within the framework of this digital governance, we're betting for Metropolitan open institutionality. Why do we say open data? Because they allow us to empower transparency, and we can also collaborate with other institutions, with the citizens, with civil society organizations, and with the private sector, providing also information and promoting the reuse of data. Data that is used from the Metropolitan institutionality. It is based on this data generation that we saw a need to improve our institutional portal, where we can have new data sources of all kinds, economic, social, environmental, in terms of land use. We have a Metropolitan Observatory, and it is a governance based on evidence, where we have some beds that are identified to be connected with the observatories in order to share information, develop the portal to improve the analysis and access to information from a more friendly, more interactive platform. And this is also by phases. Right now we're on phase 1. We're monitoring a series of indicators within the framework of the measures taken by Hono Habitat and CPI Extended. And this allows us to have some benchmarks at the international level as a metropolitan area. We are making the download of data easier using different techniques, digital files, and soon we're gonna have a research library so that all users can download it. In phase 2, we have the migration of other data as a metropolitan institutionality, and we're gonna favor research that allows us to cross different variables by topic, by year, by municipality, and so on. The third pillar we're betting on in terms of capability strengthening of this smart city is to create a virtual classroom. We called Metropolitan School. We've had 84 events with about 7,500 participants, 5 online courses about traumatology to train our users and teach them how to use all the digital tools we've put at their disposals. We have 25 studies of specific topics, 11 webinars, and we carried out a couple of metropolitan surveys. What have we learned, and what are the challenges that motivate us to continue to keep building this digital governance as part of a city or a smart metropolitan area? Number 1, systems are not static or closed. They must always be open, having as a base the opinion of the citizenship. This is something that has enriched our institutional mission. Number 2, the importance of bringing together efforts so that we can have an impact on the reduction of inequality gaps. In this case, management of information and application of technologies. Number 3, the importance of articulating efforts in order to have an impact on the decrease of inequality, territorial inequality gaps. And finally, the challenges to continue with this quest to guarantee the training and education of the involved people, to create the necessary knowledge, not only for the implementation of the practice, but also to collaborate with ideas that lead to the innovative use of technologies, also to transform the data, to turn all the information we generate into a tool to create and consolidate all this information, to consolidate the digital office with no paper, and to realize, if, to come to know if we can avoid all these person-to-person meetings that require a lot of documentation, and also to try to take steps towards more interactive models. This comes from the very need of users to create space to improve the participation of citizens as service providers. That's very important for us. To be able to generate more trust from our users, and to make it easier for them to gather construction permits, and also to identify opportunities in the territory in different areas. And we could also measure impact based on implemented decisions. The impact on the environment, urban planning, or urban development. This is how we're full of optimism. We're gonna keep moving forward these challenges and contributing to digital governance. That's the end of our presentation, and we give the floor to you. Carlos Calderon, thank you very much for your company, and also Tatiana Miranda.
Thank you to you both. Thanks to you both. Well, thank you from El Salvador, Central American country, speaking about governance, the tramitology online. And the last thing that he said caught my attention, to take in consideration the education, so that they can do all of this paperwork, but online. And they are adding intelligence, they are adding information, and the use of the new technologies. And we are closing this first forum of smart cities in the second journey, and to have a balance, to speak a little bit about the conclusions, we have Andres Felipe Alvarez. He is subdirector of integral director of the area metropolitan area. Thank you so much to all the technical team, to everybody that is connected. More than 1,000 people are connected, and that we hope will still be connected up to the last journey. We've had more than 5,000 people registered. Thank you so much for the people all around the world that are part of this first forum of smart cities. We want to highlight some things about these first presentations. The city of Itagüí, the mayor of the municipality, Dr. Jose Fernando, did a very interesting presentation that shows how the municipality is moving forward in the reindustrialization by developing other sectors of the economy of this municipality. 80% of the municipality in optic fiber. When we reduce the digital gap, it's going to allow more citizens to have access to technology, and that way have a positive impact in the municipality and consolidate this city. Another important topic, and I want to highlight Ilian Toscana from Cambodia. We thought it was very interesting, her focus of inclusion, where they are giving the possibility of the children, of women to have access to technology, thinking about human rights. It's one of the most interesting things that I highlight from her presentation, and how through technology we are generating access, inclusion, and gender equity. Bilbao, you are known, one of the reference of smart cities, how we have different actions that this city has done. But one of the interesting challenges is how to have free internet less than 150 meters away. So this is an interesting challenge. We in el Valle de la Aburrá, in alliance with the Metro, we are going to have free internet in the metro stations, and we want to have even aspirations beyond and to have it inside the wagons of the metro system. It's a challenge, and it's just part of the strategy of the Software Valley. In Uruguay, the ABC plan, basic support to the citizens. It's simple tools, like with WhatsApp, we can contribute with the environmental situations. We can report things through WhatsApp, and the authorities can respond easy. And also, free Wi-Fi. Salin Chalena, the quadruple helix, not only the companies, the university, the state, but the society. That is reindustrialization. That is what we have been promoting from the Valley of Aburrá. And it's good to listen from his behalf all the purposes that we are working on in this Metropolitan Valley. In UK, how technology contributes with the identification of risk factors to decrease pollution levels in the air. It's very interesting. It's an example for us in the Valley of Aburrá, because technology has to contribute to improve the quality of life and the environmental conditions of these territories that are densely populated, like the cities that we have today, that can have similar situations. Ecuador, governance, mobility, and finally San Salvador. We really want to thank everybody. For us, it is great to be the host of this first Metropolitan Forum. It is successful because we have great talks like the ones that we've had these 2 days and the ones that we are going to have until Friday. And the invitation is to be connected. And we want everybody from Colombia and the world that continue connected to this forum, that have asked questions, that are involved, and that every day they enrich with their participation. Thank you to Telemedellín and Linda and Juan Camilo that are our presenters, helping us for the forum to be an success. Thank you so much for sharing with us your conclusions. And with this space, we close this second journey of smart cities. And like you were saying, we want to thank the people that are connected with us, our audience, some of them national and international speakers. We invite you to connect tomorrow at 9 a.m. through our YouTube channel and Facebook, so that you don't miss this sharing of experiences to drive us as intelligent cities. So have a nice day. Have a nice day for you. Have a nice day, everybody. We hope that we will continue having a greater audience tomorrow. Thank you so much.